Hi, everyone. Thank you for stopping by and thank you for your time. This is chapter 4 this week in Immune for Life, and this was one of the most exciting chapters for me because this is where the benefits of these substances really began to surprise researchers when they began looking at some of the basic molecules and how they were exerting their effects. So we are going to go way beyond mere nutrition here, and we are going to tackle some of the most costly and deadly conditions known to man. And we are speaking about drug-resistant bacteria, drug-resistant cancer, metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular disease, and liver conditions. And you would be very surprised, as they were, to learn how some of these substances were so effective at fighting some of the most lethal cancers, in particular, like lung cancer, how they helped regenerate and correct liver disease, and how they helped correct metabolic syndrome. And this all has to do with host mediated responses. So these are complex mechanisms. They can't generally be confined to one molecule or one test subject, and that is what makes them so difficult to study and isolate the therapeutic potential of the isolates. And what is proving to be most difficult despite worldwide research efforts. So I guess I'm going to go backwards to forwards here. And first of all, I'm going to talk about cancer and the serendipitous discovery in 1995, known as Hamlet, when they discovered that a casein fraction of milk, human milk, blocked the binding of bacteria to epithelial cells, and then therefore was selectively toxic to lung cancer. I believe it also worked on leukemia. So they eventually traced the active fraction to the casein fraction of human milk, and it was subsequently identified as Hamlet, which is oleic acid partially bound to alpha-lactalbumin. The complex was given the acronym Hamlet, and then later on they discovered Bamlet, which is bovine oleic acid bound to alpha-lactalbumin. Bamlet is actually more Bamlet is more effective than Hamlet. So, the exact mechanisms of action have yet to be discovered, despite exhaustive worldwide research efforts. So regarding Kefir metabolic syndrome, one of the other crucial breakthroughs was the effect of the microbiota only, and that was on the famous mouse study where the lean mouse was given the microbiota from an unhealthy mouse, and then the lean mouse developed obesity, and then vice versa. And they have since expanded on that study form, and they have shown the same thing in 3 other pillars of disease, which are arthritic, infectious, and autoimmune. / mental health, where the primary mechanism is just focusing on the difference between healthy microbiota from a healthy donor and unhealthy microbiota from a lean donor, and transplanting one to the other and vice versa, and reversing and or causing the condition. So those were some breakthrough study research. What's it called? Research study design that helps move things forward at a much faster pace. So Kefir in particular has begun to be studied due to its effect on drug-resistant cancers. And they found that a notable decrease in tumor size and weight and a considerable enhancement of helper T cells and cytotoxic T cells, as well as significant decreases in metastasis into the lung and bone marrow. And these were detected after Kefir treatment. When immigrants first came to the U.S. and they were accustomed to their Kefir in Europe, one of the substances they began to use customarily here was buttermilk. Buttermilk eventually went on to be studied for decades, and it has been shown to be, you could say buttermilk is a very simple Kefir. It's been shown to be a superior antioxidant, capable of modulating cell signaling, lipid transport, affecting metabolism and immunity, and it's also lowers cholesterol. So it's extremely beneficial for heart disease, cardiovascular disease. So regarding the liver, Kefir has been shown diet-associated conditions are becoming more deadly and costly, and people have changed their eating habits to include high fructose containing foods. And this is a key player in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So recent studies have evaluated the effects of Kefir peptides on high fructose-induced non-alcoholic fatty liver, and they've shown great therapeutic value. And the mechanism of action they propose is its superior antioxidant potential, as well as amplifying intracellular and mitochondrial responses of the host while not harming normal cells. So because it is a food, Kefir is able to enter the mitochondria. The components of Kefir are able to enter the mitochondria and exert benefits while not harming normal cells. Kefir has also shown liver regeneration effects. So these various techniques, as Kefir is fermented and the components break down further and further due to host-mediated responses. Kefir is a symbiotic, and it's also synergistic. So these components work together with the host and help prevent or reverse conditions inherent to the host. So while infectious diseases were the most important health issue in the world in the beginning of the 20th century, cardiovascular, metabolic diseases, and cancer eventually became the largest contributors to global morbidity and mortality. And I would add autoimmune conditions to that, because those are also a modern phenomenon. So these are the metabolic miracles of Kefir, treating cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndromes, cancer, and liver disease with functional foods. Kefir has attracted the attention of doctors and pharmacists due to its health benefits, including antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, antimutagenic, anti-allergic, antidiabetic, cholesterol effects, anti-inflammatory, immunostimulatory, and immune modulating. Kefir is a symbiotic with the ability to treat a myriad of conditions. So this is the chapter where the science really begins to back up. It goes deeper to the molecular components and shows how the science is backing up in a more, what's the word? In a deeper way than was known just by, say, I'm forgetting my words here, epidemiological studies. So they see things happening in certain groups of populations all over the world. They know what they eat. And then they began to, with more complex equipment, and they began to be able to look at these precise molecules and what was going on. And what they discovered was astounding to them. And it still is, because they still, 1995 till today, they still don't understand how these complex molecules work together. Although they have uncovered some astounding findings, even though the research has been very intense since these discoveries. They still don't understand how these complex molecules work together. But the benefit to you is that you don't have to know, that you just know that they work synergistically with you as the unique person that you are. And it's host mediated, and the breakdown of these products occurs naturally so that you can get the benefits of the base molecules without having to wait until science discovers the base molecule and creates a similar drug or something like that to exert the same effect. You don't have to wait for that, because all that occurs naturally when you eat the functional food. So that's the benefit. And you should try to eat the functional food as close to nature as possible. And that is the reason for the bovine colostrum. As I read, Bamlet is more effective than Hamlet. So, okay, that's chapter 4 in a nutshell. All this science is found in the book, but chapter 4 is the one where the science really begins to be broken down and going beyond mere nutrition for the infant to show the lifelong benefits. So that's why the proof is in the pudding, and the proof is in Immune for Life, and that's where you'll find it. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for your time. Bye.